I dreamt, and I've been dreaming about an evil killing this house. It's this house of opulence. It's a house that stands out to you. It's a house that has many rooms, virtually a mansion, virtually like a whole community's of people in this house. It was probably what you consider like this Victorian yet modern glamorous establishment that was built to basically keep people comfortable, you know? I believe America is a house that was built to keep people comfortable. Has it failed to keep everyone comfortable? Absolutely. That is the sin that is involved with this country. That is the sin that has plagued this world, where not everyone has had the access to be free from the bondages of their bloodlines. And it was our job as Christians to reach out to the poor so that their generations will be free. The poverty that inflicts people won't affect the future generations of the impoverished, and Christians have failed to do that because we want to associate ourselves with success, and we are going to be punished for that as well. Anyway, so there's the evil killing the house from the bottom up, and it totally makes sense because unfortunately it is the fiscally or the financially struggling Americans that give into rage more, because they feel like they've been neglected from the government, or they feel like they haven't had their opportunity to succeed and take part in this American dream. So it seems like the evil got to them first, and it's almost like, and it was like the evil kind of, and it consumed them. It's not like it was like it's not like it's like hatred and you can probably like talk someone down or explain yourself. Like it was like an evil that stayed. Like it was like a witchcraft. Like it was this incantation from this Caucasian female who, like, I'm not going to go into the features of somebody who, like, the person that I saw who may have made the incantation. I just know that she was female. Like, she kind of felt, like, rebellious, almost like the Lilith images that you'd see on the internet if you were ever search her up. I'm not saying you should go search up Lilith images because, I mean, just take my word for it. She just has black hair and she kind of comes off a bit sinister. But it was like she spoke this incantation and this ivy of like evil sprung from her. And it's not like they were like these tendrils or tentacles. Like, no, it was more of just like everything that was around her and that remained around her would die. And the people who stayed were consumed with her evil. And then the only way you could escape it is by fleeing the bottom floor. And my goodness, myself, I was at first when I woke up, I was a bit concerned and like ashamed because I didn't feel like I was like concerned enough about taking other people with me. But I'm beginning to realize that in my walk with God, as I'm growing closer to him and I'm seeking him out, and I worry about my friends and I worry about my family, like there's only so much I can say. It's their choice of whether they want to believe that God is the answer of all, through all the chaos and the catastrophe, and if they will look to other sources for their peace, then that is between them and God. And that's when I realized, like, so when I was running up these stairs, it was really weird. There were a lot of stairs for reasons I can't understand, but I kind of I got out of the bottom floor and I got to the second, and then as soon as I got to the second, the people who were consumed with this evil started running after everybody, and I was like, wait, what? Like, and it does sound a bit comedic as I'm like going into it and kind of like recounting it, but seriously, it was strange because I thought they would stay there for reasons, again, I don't understand. I thought they would stay there and just be angry with each other, but we wanted to hurt other people. And evil, like, you know, when they say misery likes this company, I believe that evil was trying to like infiltrate everything. And I was like, whoa, absolutely not. So then I picked up my pace and I began to run up these stairs, the next flight of stairs. But you know what? The stairs had the nerves to fall apart. For reasons I can't understand. It was like the things that were beyond our control. The people I'm meaning the people who weren't trying to be hateful. It's like we were trying to be cornered into this like hopeless situation. But I prayed in that dream. I've been praying in my dreams. There's no reason why you should never allow God to get involved. This is all his dominion. So I sent out a prayer. For some reason, this long quilt like blanket, like it was like this knitted structure, fell from the top floor, and I was able to climb it with strength that I never knew I had. You know, that's like the stuff that only really happens in dreams. It's weird. It was weird, but it was accurate. It felt real. So then I ascended this quilted blanket, knitted blanket sort of contraption, got to the top floor, and was held safe there. So what was meant, and it was interesting now that I'm looking back at it, because what was meant to basically keep me isolated on this, like, on the lower level, to be consumed by whatever evil that was there, the fact that the stairs had fallen were like also like what saved the rest of the people who were trying to escape the horrors. Because if the stairs were still there, we'd have to run another flight, and who wants to keep running up the flights? God is good. He didn't keep me exhausted in a dream. I mean, exhaustion probably wouldn't hit me in a dream like that, but he was kind. He just only made it like a twice, like a 2 times around sort of thing. So I'm grateful for that. So I stayed on the top floor, and it was like a healthy group of people that were remaining that weren't, in fact, I wouldn't say infected, but they weren't consumed with that evil. And I actually want to mention this. Like, it was like, so something that should have been that should have been like a disadvantage for me. Again, we're going to go back to the stairs really quickly, but the fact that the stairs broke, that was supposed to be a disadvantage, but when you're a Christian, everything will be for your good. I'm telling you this, hands down. Like, it's just, there's no such thing as you losing when you're a Christian. Jesus never loses. Jesus is that Christian. He's the OG, I'm sorry. Please forgive my vernacular. Here's the kicker. So we're on the top floor. All right. Staircase gone. Fine. We have the quilt. It's all right. We have Jesus. That's even better. And we're all collected around the opening of where the stairs were, and we're kind of just like, we're taking a moment to be thankful that we're like alive, and some people are a bit shocked and whatever, but that was brief. And then for some reason, we're all like saved. Like, everybody on that floor was saved. They became saved, or they were saved from the beginning, from the get-go. Either way, God bless. Being saved is basically going you're on the right lane, and you're trying to come to Jesus slowly but surely. You're just trying to come to Jesus. Now, we all started singing songs, like worship songs, and I was feeling it. Even in my dream, I was loving all of it. I was like, amen, yes, please, like, soothe the stress of the situation. And when I tried to like join in to sing or something, I had like this religious figure, like somebody that I looked up to in terms of their like I don't know, their ardorous love for God. She shut me down, and it was a she. She was a she. All right, fine. She shut me down and basically told me to save the singing for like everybody else, or for the professionals. It felt like, and that was symbolic. This wasn't like, because the person that said that to me, I know her in real life, and she typically wouldn't say something like that. Or who knows, maybe this is God's way of like giving me a hint, and in those circumstances I should steer clear and sing to myself somewhere else, like, away from her, because she kind of has this like this leadership attitude where she's a bit controlling. But I doubt it. It just came off like religious leaders are trying to censor what people are trying to do, and it's actually very true in like these real world circumstances where religious leaders aren't preaching what they should be, and they aren't allowing their congregation to fully explore a deep walk with Christ. especially as, like, and from my experience, having, like, I currently attend a Seventh-day Adventist church on the East Coast, and my church accepts the 501c3 contribution from the government. It's a 501c3 organization, and unfortunately yes, the church is like traditionally like taken care of in terms of like the sanctuary, but the people, the actual church, not the sanctuary, the actual church, the members of this church, their faith is very stale, because the pastor only talks about doctrines of love and acceptance. And yes, this is important, but you must also warn your members, because as a pastor, you will be held to a higher standard. And like when judgment comes, like as a shepherd, you will be held accountable for how your sheep have been taken care of. Even if you want to believe that God is a God of love, which it's all facts, but you have to also believe that God is the God of standards. And if he set a standard for you to meet, and he was patient with you, and you refuse to meet that standard, and then you want to convince yourself that the God is a God of love and that hell is only an event and not a place, then I'm not sure if that's something you should be willing to gamble with. And that's unfortunately what I've encountered with my spiritual leaders and my encounter spiritual leaders, where like I feel like they mean well and they love God and they're trying to be a great example for their members, etc. But being a great example is one thing, and yes, you should be loving and kind, and you should like resemble like an accepting church. Of course, yes, that is very much important. That is some of it, but the rest is also making sure that your church members, your elders, are actually doing their job and treating people kindly as well. And you're tending to like lost people and within the church who feel like the walk is too confusing, and shed light on what the Bible's supposed to mean for people as a Christian, and what the Bible's supposed to be, like a sword and everything. Your faith is a shield, and like and then there's like this like armor of like righteousness and everything, or belt of righteousness. Like I've never had that explained to me at that church, at my church, like my physical church that I attend. I've never had that explained or that reference ever given to me before. I had to learn that through like research and like supplemental YouTube videos and channels, and I don't understand that. I'm not judging my religious leader, but I'm making that observation and connection. But anyway, this is getting a bit longer than I expected. And here's how I'm like approaching my last 2 points, so thank you for sticking along with me. The Colossal Squid. So I dream of beasts of the deep. I'm grateful for those. I personally like dreaming about things that make me uncomfortable. Like, considerably from day one, God never like held back, and I like love it. He knew me from the beginning. I prefer the truth, no matter how like red and raw it may make me feel. I kind of feel that I rather know it now than experience it on the fly and have to make like adjustments in my life, which will probably just leave me stunned and a bit overwhelmed, which God will help me through anyway. And there might be encounters that might be the turnout nonetheless. But listen, we'll get there when it happens. So back to the Colossal Squid. Let me tell you the difference and why he chose a Colossal Squid. Why I believe he chose a Colossal Squid. Should I verify that? Absolutely. I'll fast for it. I'll get an additional revelation from the revelation that he gave me, because God does that. He comes out in layers. He's really great. Anyway, colossal squids are bigger than giant squids. Like, giant squids are like 14 feet or something. And then giant squids are like 8 feet. Or like colossal squids are like 18 or something. 18 or more. My measurements sound pretty much off, but either way, these are just really big squids. I just don't know how they get that large, and at this point, I'm not